people just don't expect women to be in trades.
No, or even drive like a ute.
No. People are always shocked when I tell them I'm a carpenter.
Why?
Because I'm a chick. They're like, oh, the chicks do that. And I'm like, ta-da!
I had no idea that's what I wanted to do. When I was 18 and I was at university, I went to South America and volunteered over there for 3 months. And I learnt how much you can help people using your hands. Through a few career changes, I realised what I really wanted to do, and I really just wanted to help people improve their lives. So I became an electrician.
I was in a job I didn't really like, so I did a little bit of soul searching, found out that I liked doing DIY projects and working with my hands, which led me to carpentry.
I worked in the construction industry in sales. I don't think it's my purpose to become a tradie, but I want to be in the industry, so I thought this is the best way. I can do sales, which I know I can do, but yeah, I'll be able to cut my teeth and learn a bit about the industry and get to meet people in the industry, blah, 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 blah.
I was quite academic, so I always thought that I'd go to uni, and that was the only path that really was presented to me as a school-age student. But looking back at my childhood, and I did scouts and I did taekwondo, and I was always outside and I was always helping Dad, it makes sense in retrospect that I did an apprenticeship and did a trade.
When I was in high school, tried being a hairdresser for a little bit. That didn't quite work out. Then I was a beautician. Again, didn't really work out for me. From that, I went into being a florist, dog groomer, modelling. I ran a paintballing site, worked at a children's camp. Finally, when I moved to Australia, that's when I decided what I actually wanted to do.
When I left school, I studied German, and then I landed in a medical job, and then it wasn't until I turned 31 that I decided to become a tradie.
I think this project and just working with females is firstly an awesome project to be a part of, and it's really interesting for myself because I've never been on a job site where it is all females.
Oh, I think it's great. There's little amount of experience working with other female trades because there's just not many of us.
I think it's such an awesome concept because most of the time we're all just with guys and you have one, usually the only female, so it's been awesome.
It's a unique design with a unique team of women. I think that's pretty amazing. But what's been interesting is when we've had all women, how much fun did we have? That was so much fun. And not that when the boys come in it's less fun, but the dynamics when it's just women is really interesting on a building site.
There's so much less drama just working with girls, which I know people would probably think the opposite, but men are such drama queens. They tend to whinge a lot about their girlfriends and all sorts of stuff on site, and you have to listen to their relationship problems. And it's not so much like that with all chicks. We just have a laugh and get on and get the job done.
I worked on some big projects and was pretty much the only female, and there were hundreds of other tradies, so I guess that's probably the worst part, as it can get pretty lonely with just all men.
My 2 years on building sites, I think maybe 2 times in my whole time that I saw a woman as a tradie.
There's a lot of stereotyping. You were always expected to perform like the last woman who was on site. Because usually on construction sites there's only one woman, and I would get called Jess or Emily, you know, depending on who was there last. They don't even see it, and there's an expectation that I'm either really good when I was a first year, or everyone expected me to be like a fourth year because that was the only other female they knew.
Sometimes, yeah, you can get treated differently. I've experienced a lot myself over the years. If I go to a big site and I'm carrying my toolbox through the site, they'll tend to ask me, oh, do you need a lift with that, love? Are you alright? Can you handle that?
People assume because you're female you're weak or weaker than a man. A lot of the men will often try and help you as opposed to helping another male because they assume you can't do it.
If you let them take it, then they kind of lose respect for you, and they'll think that, oh, she's a girl, she's always going to need help, she's too weak or whatever. Like, I literally did roof carpentry for 9 months just to prove that a chick could do it. Because the first day I turned up at the job, the boss was like, oh, I don't know how you're going to go being a girl, it's pretty heavy lifting. So I literally stayed there for 9 months, and then one day I just walked in and I was like, okay, on that note, I'm going to quit. And he's like, but you're the best apprentice I've ever had. I'm like, I couldn't do it.
I'm qualified, I have a licence, I have a ticket, and no one can take that away from me.
Showing the boys how it's done is the best aspect of the job.
Another thing on site is you do get stared at quite a lot, so that's one thing. It's a little bit uncomfortable because I think the men are not quite used to having females on site yet.
I would have people that I would be talking to on a building site that would make comments about my body. Because you don't expect people to comment on your figure in a professional environment, so it shocks you, so you're not ready for it. And so then your reply is kind of always awkward and like not the way that you would want to do it because it catches you by surprise.
Being a female in the industry, you do stand out whether you like it or not. And for me, I'm a high-performing electrician. I'm happy to stand out. And I have learned, and especially getting older, how to tell people when to back off or have certain responses in certain ways, but it's you get pretty used to it and you get pretty resilient. That's probably the biggest thing that this trade has done, my apprenticeship and then working in the trade, especially in the mining industry. It's given me this new resilience that I see in myself that I don't see in people who enter, and I think, oh, wait another 5 years and you'll have that same resilience.
I think it's very important to mention that although there has been quite disturbing and uncomfortable situations, so the majority of the time has been overwhelmingly positive.
I love where I work. Not every day. And I only don't want to go back at the moment because I'm enjoying being here and I want to see this through.
One of the main reasons I was so excited to work in the construction industry was the culture. The amount of times I went to go sell some sort of product, and I ended up having a chin wag and a beer with the boys, I cannot count. It happened so many times.
We are very lucky, and more women should be tapping into it. And we get paid the same. Other industries, absolutely. You can walk into a place and you can see straight away who gets paid more and who gets paid less, and there is a particular gender divide. I feel quite protected in the industry that I work in. We really need to tap into that other 50% of the population if we want quality tradespeople.
It has to start in the school, so girls when they're young, they feel empowered, they feel that they think that that's an actual pathway for them. It's exciting.
If you didn't have a job tomorrow, you'll have a job the next day because you have that license, and in Western Australia, we'll never run out of work. Join us.